Yeah.
Hey guys, Tim DeLaughter here from the Polyphonic Spree, and you're listening to Two Guys Talking Rush podcast.
Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys talking rush. Two guys.
And now, get ready for the Two Guys Talking Rush podcast with your hosts, John Kane and Dan Buxton.
Hey folks, this is John Kane, and welcome to episode 60 of the Two Guys Talking Rush podcast. This ain't Two Guys Talking Mahogany Rush.
It is not.
Definitely not. It's Two Guys Talking the incredibly iconic Rush. So listen in and discover the best damn Rush podcast in the entire Solar Federation. Two Guys Talking Rush. Hello, Dan.
What is happening?
What is happening?
Well, it is the month of October, which means spooky times.
I love it.
Yeah, it's the only time when I can turn on the TV and there's sometimes actually a good movie on that I want to watch.
Absolutely, I love it.
Yeah,
I like getting all dark and mysterious and feeling like that veil between two realms is even closer. We can touch ghosts. And,
yes, exactly.
I love that.
Very, very scary.
Ooh.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I do think though, really, this is a moment to be serious. This is our first podcast that we've recorded since R. Kelly was found guilty on all charges. No, not feeling like
I mean, no. The R. Kelly thing, after I watched that documentary, I was just like, oh my God, this is so bad. Dude, you know, and I never really loved his music to begin with, but it's like, oh, so awful, you know, like terrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Stuff, you know? I suspect he's guilty, and enjoy your time in prison, you know, for all the bad things you've done. Mm-hmm. However, I'm sure there's people that think he's innocent. So, you know,
there were people outside the courthouse on the day he was found guilty holding up signs saying Free R. Kelly has been railroaded and all that sort of thing. And it's I'm not sure I quite agree with your assessment there, my friend.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's amazing, all these documentaries that sort of are now breaking the story of it's almost like people can make 1,000 complaints, but until there's a documentary,
right,
it's the
no
ultimate
one gives
complaint.
a shit.
Yeah, no one gives a shit.
Yeah, right.
It's like, you want to put someone in jail, make a documentary.
Yeah, make a documentary.
Them,
yeah, 20 years after it happens.
Exactly.
Then we'll see at that point.
I mean, Netflix is full of them, dude. Documentaries that reopen cases, have people look at closer, cases in more closer detail, all that stuff. So it's pretty amazing. I mean, of course, the Michael Jackson famous documentary that came out.
What's great about Rush, though, is there's no scandal. There's nothing like this. There was never a documentary surviving a life sin. Never happened.
Nope.
Nor would it. I think like the worst thing I ever heard about any of them was there was this scuffle that Alex Lifeson got in once.
Eddie Van Halen, right?
Or it was 20 years ago or something.
Okay.
I think he was with his son.
Oh.
And
right.
Remember that?
Yeah. Well, Lifeson's not going to take any shit. I think
he's not.
Good for him.
No, but when it was over, he was immediately like, I take full responsibility. I acted shamefully. I'm terribly. It's like,
yeah, right.
You're not supposed to apologize for anything ever.
Point being, there's no very minimal scandal and weirdness with Rush, which is why we love the guys so much. And I do want to say, folks, if you're listening in, we all should wish Dan a very happy birthday. I mean, it's the man's birthday, for crying out loud.
For fuck's sake.
What the wish him a birthday. So drop him an email, send him a hello through Facebook, do whatever you got to do to get the word out. It's Dan's damn birthday.
Right on.
Dan, what'd you do for your birthday? Did you have any cake?
I sat on my ass. I had a work experience that was not pleasant.
Oh, that's fun.
But I don't know. I'm 52, and it's like I'm way past the like give me presents, like, appreciate me.
Once. I should take back that gift I got you then. All right.
Yeah, please. I was very offended by it. No, I think once you're like 22, you're kind of past all the milestone birthdays at that point.
Yeah.
Until like 40.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
That's very different.
I know. But it's weird. You reach a certain age and it's like birthdays aren't. You know something, man? It's like the acknowledgement that you were born is still significant. And we just celebrate in a different way, But
it's cool.
I mean, when I called you on your birthday, you were taking that aromatherapy bath.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Treating yourself to the bath salts I sent you. But, it's understandable. Happy birthday, Dan.
Thank you very much.
This show's dedicated to Dan and his birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This whole podcast, if I may be serious for a moment, has been a gift.
Cool.
And I've been really grateful for it. And we should just keep right on doing it.
Oh, well, that's what we're doing right now, Dan.
It's just funny that, it started off as like, oh, what should we do during, the next month or so of coronavirus?
Yeah.
Here we are. What is it? 15 months later, and we're still going. So.
Episode 60, incredible.
Craziness.
Well, it is. Well, to carry on, happy birthday to Dan, the man. And we want to say hello to our Rush fans, our Rush family, our Two Guys Talking Rush family. Thanks for tuning in and listening each week. We get lots of emails, lots of friendly hellos and suggestions, and making the show, helping us try to make the show better. We appreciate everybody that's involved and all of our guests. Out of all 60 episodes, we appreciate every moment that they've given us of their time and willingness to share their stories with us. And also, celebrating fall. We just mentioned it's October 1st. The autumnal winds are the cold autumnal winds are bringing on that faraway scent of winter. Wherever you are, we're up here in the Northeast, we're enjoying the leaves turning. And I always like to put on a little medieval music and dance around in some tights around this time. You got your rainbow shirt on?
I go into the middle of the forest with my lute and dance around the fire, singing fairy paeans to the witch's teat. That's what I do, to celebrate fall.
I thought that was you, because I was just about an acre away doing the same thing. Well, folks, we're getting weird, but that's okay. I lived in Salem, Mass for like 15 years, and there was a lot of people in tights.
A lot of that shit going on.
Yeah. Someone asked me once, what's it like living in Salem? I said, well, it could be 5 a.m. and you could be in line at a Dunkin' Donuts, and there'd be like a pirate and a guy in a cape, and that was Salem. That summed it all up.
I kind of respect that, though. It's like, cool. It's like if you're gonna do something goofy, be no apologies about it whatsoever. Just go hard, like get your whole fucking shoulder into it.
Dude, I was in like at a red light. I was going somewhere for an early appointment, 5-6 in the morning. Mm-hmm. And a pirate just walked right by me at 5 o'clock in the morning. So that's Salem for you. But before I forget, I want to remind folks, this show is hosted by fans for fans. Our listeners know we are inclusive. Each week we try to mix it up with incredible guests and equally incredible content, and we want to thank everyone for joining us on this magnificent journey. Before I forget, I want to thank all of our previous guests, including our friends from Why Not that joined us, and of course Steve Brown with Rushfest Scotland. Check out those previous episodes, and of course Why Not is on tour right now, and I'm seeing pictures, and a friend of mine went to see Why Not at the bitter end and said they were absolutely incredible. So if you get to see Why Not, do it. Also, you can hear our podcast on TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, Simplecast, and every other major podcasting outlet. This show is recorded in video as well, so please check out our YouTube channel and click subscribe. Do it. A quick Rush Radio shout out. You can find Rush Radio on the TuneIn app and at rushradio.org. A big thank you to Ed Stinger at rushasaband.com, the legendary Ed Stinger and his pioneering blog about Rush. It's an incredible resource for all Rush stuff. Anyway, also Why Not, their music can be heard in our show's intro. Thank you, Why Not. And also Rush fans, we want to hear from you. If you have any comments, suggestions, ideas, or questions about the show, please submit them to 2guystalkingrush@gmail.com. TWO guys talking rush at gmail. We're always looking for super fans as well. Join us for our Rush superfan spotlight. Are you a super fan? What makes you a super fan? Let us know and you'll be on the show. And that rhymed. And I like when things like that. Our website is 2guystalkingrush.com. TWO guystalkingrush.com. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, everything. Just do it. Click, just type us into Google. And I just did that the other day. I typed in 2 Guys Talking Rush, and like 5 pages popped up.
Nice.
We're everywhere. We're all around the planet. Anyway, also we need support from folks. If you could, we receive no revenue from doing this podcast. However, it does take a small amount to keep it going. If you're interested in fueling our passion to bring you the most up-to-date and Rush news and awesome guests and content, check out our store, 2guystalkingrush.com, and also our Patreon account, which is www.patreon.com, 2guystalkingrush. And also want to thank all of our patrons for supporting us. We have some folks giving us 50 cents a month, and it's very helpful towards the fees of the podcasting fees and all that jazz. We got an email. I love fan emails. They're always fun to read. And this one is from our friend Tom.
Yep.
And Tom says, "Gentlemen, I just listened to the Bruce Gowers interview episodes. Having been a Rush," and Bruce Gowers is the pioneering video director, amid other instrumental videos like Bohemian Rhapsody and others. Bruce did the Le Studio videos at Le Studio in Canada in the 80s for Rush. And he says, having been a Rush fan for 40 years, this in-depth interview brought me more joy and appreciation about the band than maybe any other interview I've heard apart from the band members themselves. Wow. That's
high praise indeed. Definitely.
Yes, I feel like tingly inside. It sort of embraced me. That was like a hug. John, you were so well prepared. Dan, maybe you were out for that episode. I'm sure if Dan was there,
out jerking off somewhere.
Where were you, Dan? John, you were so well prepared, and you treated Mr. Gowers so respectfully, and you were not afraid to let your teen boy fandom shine through almost every question. And yet you brought us sophisticated technical knowledge to the conversation as well. You asked so many good questions, and I love how you watched the videos with Mr. Gowers and paused to open it up again and again. Mr. Gowers was incredibly genial and generous with his knowledge and time, and came across as much more humble than his incredible career would indicate. It was amazing how much he remembered from 40 years ago. I didn't want the interview to end. John, thank you for tracking him down, and thank you, Mr. Gowers, for opening up so thoroughly about the process behind these videos that helped define an entire generation of Rush fans. Now, there are more questions as a result of this interview. Who edited Mr. Gowers' work in post-production? It's a good question. I don't think I might have touched on that, but and why? What is the real story behind the Vital Signs video? That's a good question, because Gowers said he didn't touch that video, but I think it's his footage. I think somebody else edited it. John and Dan, I hope you'll pursue these fresh leads. It's rare that a Rush podcast genuinely makes some Rush news, but yours did just that. Thank you for the incredible work. I'll be making a donation at your website. Tom, thank you so much. We appreciate that. I mean, this is, if you can land an interview with that sort of digs deep or talks about something different, I mean, that's sort of the excitement I get from doing this podcast. It's just really talking about different things. And I like talking about songs and compositions and what people were going through the writing of the video with the band. But I don't I think it's just the essence of 2 Guys Talking Rush is just that, sort of closely examining the impact, social impact, the cultural impact, artistic impact. I mean, whatever. So if anybody has any ideas for Rush shows, let us know, or guests.
Yeah, we're all ears.
What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say that, like, I mean, that's honestly, it's one of the things that I like the most about doing this show is like, we're not afraid to get into like what some people might consider more kind of inside baseball sort of stuff. But for Rush fans, it is not possible to go too far down the rabbit hole. They want to go as far as the rabbit hole goes.
Yeah.
And I felt like was you definitely hit a very nice deep rabbit hole on that one, you know.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was, and it's true, the fanboy thing. It's like I am genuinely interested in learning about that. It was something I always wanted to learn. So it's just fun, you know. And that's why it's not really a job. It's something that I'm interested in. And I think for you as well, Dan, we want to like bring guests on that we want to learn more about Rush from. So yeah, absolutely. We don't just have guests on for the sake of having guests. We most definitely want to try to give it a different twist and have new and interesting and in-depth conversations. Well, anyway, thank you, sir, for those accolades. Tom, if you're listening, and moving on with Rush tour news history. For the month of October. In 1975, Rush played the Trianon Ballroom in Regina, Saskatchewan on the Caress of Steel tour. In 77, they played the Civic Auditorium in Santa Monica, California on the Farewell to Kings tour. I got to pop that album in. That's a great October album, Farewell to Kings. 82, Rush played the Calgary Chorale in Calgary, Alberta on the Signals tour. In 84, they played the Centrum in Worcester, Massachusetts on the Grace Under Pressure tour. That's near me. In 2000, the television series Andromeda premiered, featuring the title theme March of the High Guard, written and performed by Alex Lifeson. Interesting. In 2004, Rush, today's episode of Saturday Night Live included a hotel room door with the number 2112. Funny. I wonder if there's a little, if that was on purpose or what. I imagine so. Someone must have been a Rush fan there. 2007, the heavy metal box set was released, including Working Man. 2010, Rush play the Cruzan Amphitheater in West Palm Beach, Florida on the Time Machine Tour. In 2012, Island Mercury released the 5 classic albums budget box set containing reissues of Fly By Night, 2112, A Farewell to Kings, Moving Pictures, and Signals. We typically when we do this sort of summary of Rush tour news, it's followed up with a Rush news flashback. So we'll look back in time, 10 years, whatever, even deeper, what Rush were doing in the month of October or whatever month it is we're doing the podcast. This one's interesting. Rock Hall nomination. Of course, Rush were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and rightly so.
Yes.
I don't really care about those things. I feel like what I care most about is the nominations of bands that shouldn't be in there before other bands that should be. It's like, oh, who's vetting this thing, you know? But I think there are just a lot of Rush fans saying you need to do this now. You know, it didn't make any sense for them not to be, you know? And this is for Sunday, October 21st. In the wake of 2012, in the wake of Rush's recent nomination for induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Cleveland Plain Dealer ran an article attempting to explain Rush's zealous fan base by profiling a typical Rush superfan. So, like I said earlier, we want superfans on the show, and we love to talk to people who just love Rush so much that it envelops their lives. I mean, that's really interesting stuff. Does Rush envelop my life? Well, with the podcast, it does, it certainly does. Is my room filled with Rush stuff? No, I mean, I have Rush things, but sort of I'm enveloped by the music and in the podcast. But some people sort of surround their self with stuff. You know?
And I get the feeling with a lot of them also, it's not, the intention is not to listen to all 8 different vinyl pressings that they got of one record. It's like they just want to gather it. They just give me. One guest that we had on who showed us his whole house, he was showing
Jeff
all
Wagner.
the, like Jeff, thank you. When he was showing us all the different Rush shirts that were all like perfectly folded and had the crease just so.
Absolutely.
I could totally see like a choir. Because once you get that way about things, it's hard to stop.
Right.
And I know that he said like he had to limit the display of some of the items to just like certain parts of the house that he'd been relegated to.
Right.
But it's his wife seems to tolerate it. So
I know. He had stuff on the ceiling.
Yeah, that's a cut above right there. Once there's stuff on the ceiling, you have crossed a line, in my opinion. Not in a bad way, just you are no longer just a fan at that point.
It's incredible. Well, anyway, this article goes on to talk about the typical Rush fan, in particular, Cleveland-based journalist Peter Shakarian, aka the Analog Dad. On Rush as a Band website, there's a sort of a forum with people with their names on there, their little taglines, and his is the Analog Dad. Peter lists off some of his qualifications as a fanatical Rush junkie, including a shout out on rushasaband.com back in 2012. He says, I belong to several Rush online blog and message boards, including Rush as a Band, which is owned and operated by Cleveland-based web developer Ed Stinger, as we know. Even if you're a casual fan, if you're not a member of Rush as a Band, you're really missing something every Rush fan would want to hear that's Rush related. He also shares his thoughts in this article on the band's rock and roll nomination and how fans have differing opinions on the matter, because I think with some Rush fans are like, F you, who cares, and then
like, don't do us any favors.
Exactly. He says that it's splintered the usually united fans quite a bit. I'm not part of the militant camp of fans who won't step foot in the Rock Hall unless Rush is in there. That's sort of silly to me. And I'm not part of the fan group saying they're too good for the hall, telling Geddy, Alex, and Neil to boycott the induction like Axl Rose did. I'm the party of the third part. They belong there. They deserve to be there. If induction hinges on longevity, influence, and creativity, they have more than fulfilled the criteria. They'll be the upstanding guys that they are. Accept the honor on behalf of all the fans. Perform to skewed faces at the ceremony, just like Iggy Pop did. And all will be right in the world. And of course, they went on to probably make one of the most famous, well, at least with Alex, induction speeches.
That's the only induction speech where I could tell you what the guy said.
I know.
Every other induction speech I've ever seen, I couldn't tell you one thing about it.
I know. And when he did that, I'm like, whoa. And then after a while, I'm thinking like, well, that kind of makes sense that he did that. Blah, blah, blah.
Did he ever give like an actual like, this is why I said that, or has he left it like a mystery?
You know what, as some fans listening, they may want to answer that. I think we could probably Google it, but I think that he says he didn't know what to say or something. There was just it wasn't like him saying F you indirectly. It was more like in his response to that question, it was like, oh, I sort of just forgot what to say, or I don't know.
It didn't strike me as like hostile. I didn't see it that way. It struck me more as like, here we are. I don't know.
I know.
I don't know.
I know. So funny. This gentleman, Peter Shakarian, this Rush super fan, we're going to have him on the show eventually. And he has a huge collection of Rush stuff. So we're hoping to look at all that and get into it. But in recent Rush news, brass cover Rush's 2112 overture on the new album Canadiana. Celebrated Canadian brass quintet Canadian Brass will be releasing a new all-Canadian 11-song collection titled Canadiana. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Does that sound right?
It might be like Canadiana, like Americana, that kind of thing.
Canadiana. Next month, November 12th, via Linus Entertainment. And one of the songs they cover is Rush's 2112 Overture. For the Rush cover, they enlisted the help of guitarist Sean Kelly and percussionist Tim Timlick. In addition to Rush, the collection includes tracks from Joni Mitchell, Drake, Daniel Caesar, Shawn Mendes, Rush, Bruce Cockburn, Deadmau5, Katie Lang, Lara Fabian, and the featured track Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah, which is currently available for listening. Also, Rush's Cinema Strangiato director's cut was shown in theaters last month, and for fans who missed it, the film will be available on demand at home worldwide for a limited time starting October 10th. And RushCon will host a live virtual interactive watch party for fans who connect and discuss the film when it premieres online. Those who purchase a watch party ticket will maintain access to the content for the entire duration of the on-demand window, but only those who log in during the live event will be able to participate in chat. So that should be fun to do that. I think I might do that. In addition to the upcoming Envy of None project, which we've been talking about for a couple months now, Andy Curran and Rush's Alex Lifeson have also been working on scoring music for TV and movies. Wow. They've sort of paired up these two. On one of their songs, Liar, was featured on the Netflix series Tiny Pretty Things, as Curran describes this in an interview. He also contributed. They also contributed music to the new Amazon Prime docuseries All or Nothing: Toronto Maple Leafs, which is available on Prime. Interesting stuff. Dave Bedini's West End Phoenix monthly community newspaper for Toronto's West End will be hosting a news aid fundraiser. Alex Lifeson will be one of the participants. It's sold out. And he'll be performing with Bedini's band, the Rheostatics. They're also slated to perform as Rick Emmett, Mickey Me, Tom Wilson, Feist, Hawksley Workman, M. Griner, Tara Stone, Daniel Greaves, Charlotte Kornfeld, and many more. Interesting stuff. So Alex is just all about, he's just busy guy. Yeah,
ready to go.
Yeah. I know. A newly expanded and updated second edition of Hugh Symes' The Art of Rush is due to release in less than 2 weeks. I'm definitely going to pick this up. Hopefully it's not like $300. The original, I know, right? The original edition was released back in 2015, and that's available for pre-order. The updated edition will include a newly designed cover along with an additional 24-page section featuring Rush artwork that has been released since 2015, including the 40th anniversary box set releases from recent years. Do you have that book, The Art of Rush, Dan?
I do not.
Yeah, I don't have that either.
I'm waiting to see how much this one is and see if I can pull the trigger on it or not.
Yeah. This past week, Syme hit the interview circuit and spoke with John Patudo at Cygnus X1 and Eric Hansen at Power Windows to talk about the new book and his long career working with Rush, which started back in 1975 with Caress of Steel. Interesting stuff. Also, this is interesting. Dr. Stacy Irvine, a Toronto-based chiropractor and fitness expert who is the co-founder of Totem Life Science and also the contributing fitness editor for Chatelaine magazine. She recently published her first book via 2 books titled Your Better Instincts, Uncover Your Inner Power to Improve Health, Happiness, and Performance. Sounds like a book right up your alley, Dan.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, same here, man. We both, Dan and I, will get that and let
real
you know
soon.
We'll let you know how it works out. Yeah. The book offers advice on how to improve your overall health, performance, and happiness through tapping into your natural instincts. The book also features some interviews with celebrities who describe how their instincts help them in their own personal and professional lives. And 2 of these featured interviews are with Rush's Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson. So you can check out some excerpts of that from their interviews online and order the book via Amazon. So I'm interested in that, like Rush and health,
Yeah.
How has Rush helped your health? I want to know that. I want to hear that.
They've helped my mental health. They have done very little for my physical health, but my mental health for sure. But I never put them on I'm training for a triathlon playlist or anything like that. I know someone has, probably lots of someones have. I don't think it's you or me though. That's but I'm assuming, and I must never assume.
Interesting concept how Rush help someone lose weight or get fit or help them through some medical problems. So if there's anybody out there listening to this and they have that story, send us a note, because we're gonna probably have a show on Rush.
So
Rush
how Test for Echo helped me lose unsightly cellulite. Sort of
exactly,
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Powerlifting to Power Windows.
Yes, exactly. See, it's out there. It's out there. You must look for it.
There it is. So very cool. So a newly revised and expanded edition of Bradley Burzer's 2015 book, Neil Peart, Cultural Repercussions, is slated for release April 2022 and is available for pre-order as an ebook. The book is biographical, in-depth, The book is a biographical and in-depth examination of the words, ideas, and professional life of Neil Peart, and the author has revised and expanded the original edition to incorporate Peart's final years. The revised edition also includes a new cover featuring a photograph of Peart taken by longtime Rush as a band reader and mega Rush fan Kelly D, who was on our show back in the day, maybe early episode. A different photo by Kelly D also graced the cover of the original edition. The book is currently set to release April 5th, 2022, and the ebook can be pre-ordered. Guitar Connoisseur magazine posted an article recently titled "What Guitarists Can Learn from Neil Peart," which is interesting. We'd like to honor Neil Peart by examining how his fervent commitment to excellence can and should inform the actions of creative thinkers, specifically in this instance, the feisty community of often impractical dreamers, ruthless critics, unhinged egotists, ambitious obsessives, and at times ne'er-do-wells. And we're talking about the guitar players. Dream Theater singer James Labrie recently spoke with Revolver magazine to talk about the band's new studio album, A View from the Top of the World. Are you a fan of Dream Theater?
No.
Okay. This is no, just not into. Are you into contemporary progressive rock?
Not so much. No.
No.
Yeah.
Well, you're a metal guy. Do you like Dragon Force?
No.
Okay. Any progressive rock bands? Do you like Fate's Warning? Remember them?
I used to love Fate's Warning.
Me too.
They lost me at some point. They didn't even. It wasn't even like they put out some record and I was like, "This is awful. I'll never listen to it." It just kind of gradually went away, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
Also, when they changed singers, that was an issue for me.
Yeah. Interesting. So Fate's Warning, anybody knows, they're sort of like a defining shift in progressive metal, sort of, right? But Dream Theater in the same vein. I like Dream Theater. I should dig deeper. But clearly these guys are influenced by Rush, and they sort of celebrate that a lot. But this A View from the Top of the World is due to release October 22nd. One of the subjects that came up was the instrumental songs, and Labrie shared his 5 personal favorites, 2 of which were Rush songs, La Villa Strangiato and YYZ are the 2, and that's pretty cool that they at least acknowledge Rush and celebrate Rush. And I think by doing that, there's a cross-pollination, and that brings new Rush fans in.
Oh, totally.
It just makes it get bigger, KSHE 95 in St. Louis will be hosting a Neil Peart Memorial Benefit for Kids Rock Cancer next month with Rush tribute band Thunderhead. The Rush. There are more Rush cover bands now than ever, dude.
Had no idea.
I cannot keep track. Thunderhead, the Rush Experience. The event is taking place at Maryville University at the pageant on Friday, November 19th. And details for tickets are online. We should have them on the show. Thunderhead. I'd love to get every Rush tribute act that's out there. I want on the show. I just want to talk. I love talking to Rush tribute acts. Back in the early days of the pandemic, Anthrax drummer Charlie Benante shared a video to YouTube of himself, testaments Alex Skolnick and Suicidal Tendencies, Roberto Ra Diaz, hopefully I'm pronouncing his name correctly, performing a virtual cover of Rush's YYZ, recorded with each member separated in their own homes. They received such a great response, they decided to do more virtual Rush covers, including La Villa Strangiato, Red Barchetta, and Subdivisions. If those guys are listening, Alex Skolnick, and Roberto and Charlie, we want you on the show. Talk about it, seems like a no-brainer to me. And also Subdivisions, they perform along with covers from many other bands. Back in May, they released most of the non-Rush covers as an EP titled Silver Linings, which is cool. It's almost like Silver Linings. This pandemic's brought on a lot of things like a podcast and new albums and virtual work and all that. It's sort of brought it to life, right? And a portion of the proceeds of Silver Linings are going to the Neil Cassell Music Foundation, an organization that provides musical instruments and lessons to students and makes donations to much needed mental health organizations that support musicians in need. The Rush covers are being saved for a special Record Store Day Black Friday EP Benante recently received a replica Neil Peart Candy Apple Red Signals era drum kit from Tama Drums. Wow. He showed it off on his Instagram page. It's amazing. And he must be absolutely psyched. In the caption, he teases the possibility of taking the kit on tour with his Silver Linings co-conspirators, saying, "This is loving the beautiful kit that official Tama Drums made for me. I always wanted a Candy Apple Red kit like Neil Peart had on the Rush Signals tour, and now I do. Thank you again," and so on. So that's sort of cool. Well, that's it for Rush news. And back in April, we had a very special interview. So most of you know that we were off for the summer, and Dan was in India meditating.
I was at the first Quickie Mart.
Oh, you mean you weren't like following the path of the Beatles? And
no.
You were just at the.
I had 3 questions that I had to ask, the founder of Quickie Mart. So I had to go to the top of it. If you don't watch The Simpsons,
I know what you're talking about. Okay, I know. That's funny. Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back on track. This past April, no. We took the summer off. We had a pipeline of interviews. Most of you know that if you tuned in during the summer, it was mostly just me saying, thanks for joining us. Dan and myself and Dan are on taking a sabbatical, a black sabbatical. And we were taking a break from all metal things and all music, and spending time with our families and doing fun things like that. But we still maintain interviews because we had a lot of them, and why have them sit there and collect dust? So this one is sort of one that was the last one we should have got to, but we did not. And back in April, we interviewed the lead singer of the Polyphonic Spree. And if you don't know who the Polyphonic Spree is, they're a choral symphonic pop rock band from Dallas, Texas, that was formed by former Tripping Daisies frontman Tim DeLaughter back in 2000. The band released 6 studio albums along with several live albums and soundtracks over the past 2 decades. And in April this past year, they released their first covers album via Good Records. The album was titled Afflatus and includes a cover of Rush's The Spirit of Radio, which you can listen to on YouTube, I'm sure. In addition to the Rush track, the album includes covers by INXS, the Rolling Stones, ABBA, and many more. Afflatus can be ordered again on Amazon and on their website. And is available for streaming at all places. But what's interesting is in interviewing Tim is that he is just a fan.
Yeah.
There's no expectations. You put out when you listen to the video, folks, you'll understand that they put this out very quickly, and it was a celebration of the music that they grew up on. And I fucking love that. It's like we're not pretending to do things to a T, and with every note of the composition. And I know Rush fans are looking for that sometimes, but there's something to be said in playing these covers in a different way, or in a style of your band that's maybe a little bit dirtier, a little bit grungier. And I like the Polyphonic Spree. I listen to them quite a bit. Uplifting music. Tim's voice is very uplifting. If anybody hears anything in the background, it just so happens that outside of my office, there's someone using a leaf blower.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's a leaf blower. Okay. Yeah. I'm sure it's going to come through on
for sure.
I know.
No
it's one of those moments in life.
Oh, yeah.
This is a real show, folks. I'm not some highfalutin office building recording this in a professional studio. I'm in my studio of my home, and there just happens to be someone leaf blowing at 6:00 at night here. So
excellent.
Read my mind. Anyway, leaf blowers. I never understood them. I once saw someone.
I cannot understand.
I know
leaf blowers at all. It's I once spent, you can't rake this. Really?
I know. I once watched someone for 20 minutes blow wet leaves because I thought it was incredibly stupid. And it was so interesting to me that they were blowing wet leaves. I'm like, dude.
And he never smartened up at some point and said wow, this isn't working. did not happen, right?
I know,
just kept going.
It's so true, dude. Anyway, back to Tim. And Tim was such a sweet guy. We go off on these things, but this is how Dan and I talk. We go back and forth. But and that's what the show's about. It's like, it's some of it's scripted, some of it's not. It's conversational, as if you were with us, everybody listening, as if you were in this little sort of two-guy panel, conversation. It's as if we were drinking a cup of coffee with each other and with a bit fresh baked good or something.
Yeah, I have a friend who said something not 100% complimentary about his feelings about podcasts, where they don't just like get to it immediately.
Yeah.
So I said to him, you would really hate our podcast a lot then, but now he listens.
I don't care about that. What I care about is just having a natural, it's like natural. It's just, it's organic. I dig that.
This should be fun to do,
absolutely,
and not forced. And we should not be sounding like we're in agony trying to get something very formal out there.
No, not at all. And what's amazing too is that we have long podcasts. Our podcasts, some of them are 3 parts, and that's intentional. Everything about Rush is epic, long, detailed. There was no problem sitting through an 11-minute song.
Never.
We have 3-hour podcasts we break. Enjoy it, folks. It's free. Enjoy the time with us. Because not everything lasts forever, and this is what we're doing now. But what Tim DeLaughter was such a sweet guy and a rock and roll fan, and loves his band and loves music. And I just really like him. And he says that our cover of The Spirit of Radio actually goes back to high school. I covered it with my high school band, Regency. So for nostalgic reasons, we thought it would be fun to try it with the Spree. And dude, that's fucking rock and roll, man. That's like opening the garage door or going down the basement and jamming, and that's it. And that's rock and roll. It's not like preparing, multi-miking, this and that. I mean, some of that's good, but what were you going to say?
The essence of it is spontaneous, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
That's the essence of rock and roll to me.
I love that. And Tim DeLaughter is a pro, and he's been around for a while, and he's a great songwriter, and you should listen to the Polyphonic Spree more if you haven't. It's maybe something you listen to in the shower or on your way to work. It's going to make you feel a little bit better and brighten up your day. And I think Tim wants to bring, I felt that Tim just wants to bring joy to everybody's ears. So that's a cool thing, man, and not every band needs to be, especially bands that love Rush, needs to be masterfully technical. Right. Sometimes that gets very boring.
What he's bringing is sincere. And that means a hell of a lot to me. There are, of course, sincere musicians who are also incredibly accomplished also.
Absolutely.
But you can't buy the sincerity. It's there or it isn't. You can practice and practice and practice if you want, and you will get better. But the sincerity is there at the beginning, or you don't have it at all, ever. He brings it. He absolutely brings it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim DeLaughter. Thank you, Polyphonic Spree, and welcome to Two Guys Talking Rush. Hi, Tim.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. You're sideways, dude. Oh, there you are.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
There we go. Is that better?
It's way better. Yeah.
If you had kept it that way, you would have been the first guest we've ever had to just, be sideways the whole time. So,
You know what? That does not surprise me.
No,
it's just the story of my life,
If I was 20 years younger, I wouldn't have mind.
Exactly.
As you get older, you can't do shit like that anymore,
I know. I know. You don't get away. Well, you get away mentally in your brain. You get away with it.
Yeah.
But
yeah, exactly.
Everybody else doesn't let you get away with it.
Yeah, right. I like to think that I'm still 19, but it's absolutely the fucking opposite.
Yeah.
Oh God, damn. I mean, I think about my 20s, and it's like it was a whole lot of fun, but there's no fucking way I'd go back through my 20s again.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
No way.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was so challenging,
Yep. I looked good. So that part I would like bad, but the rest not so much.
Better, but geez, man, it was rough.
Yep.
Here we are. Well, go ahead.
I gotta apologize first to start this off. I apologize. The way my life is, it got kind of hectic there with family, and I apologize. So I'm here.
No. We're
bearing with me.
Dude, thank you for saying that, but absolutely not. I mean, we appreciate you responding. You didn't have to, you know?
Yeah, no, man, I'm all about it.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Well, my name's John Kane. This is Dan Buxman. And just so you know, we love other bands besides Rush. So we're not just solely geeking out on Rush. Right, but I think we probably are cut from the same cloth when it comes to what we like as far as music. But I'm an author. I've written 2 books, a book about Woodstock and a book on the history of live concert sound. Dan's also an author. And what are the specific titles? I always get them jumbled.
I got 5 books, the Encyclopedia of Heavy Metal, the Encyclopedia of New Wave, the Art of Brutal Legend, which is the art book for, do you know what Brutal Legend is?
You're smiling.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was, they were anticipating that it was going to be this massively successful video game, and they got right to making a book and all this merch and everything. And I wrote everything in the book. Then the game came out and nobody bought it, but they ended up pressing like 500 copies of that book. So it exists. So technically,
you've got that under your belt.
Yeah, you know, they paid me, so we're good. And I did a book about Woodstock also, and that's how John and I met. Was we were doing like a signing event at the original site where Woodstock was held, and we were the only people talking to each other about Dio. So
but both of you guys weren't at Woodstock, right?
I wasn't born yet. No.
Yeah, you weren't born yet.
Yeah.
No, man, no. But I actually am considered a scholar on the subject, and Dan might be as well, a scholar on the subject of Woodstock because of all my research. While I was getting my doctoral degree, I studied the life and career of this guy by the name of Bill Hanley, who's known as the father of festival sound. He did all the concert sound back during the this golden era of the rock festival and pop festival. So I spent 10 years studying that, and I wrote a book about it. And Dan and I are at this Woodstock event, and we start talking about Ronnie James Dio and Rush. The pandemic hits, and then we said, hey, let's do a, you know, Neil Peart passed, of course, and then we said, let's do a podcast about our favorite band, you know, Rush. So the point of that is that we're not in our parents' basements.
Okay.
We do love other bands, and we have families and jobs. So just so you know, we're not just a couple of geeks out there in the ethos, you know.
John, in fact, even actually owns that home that he's sitting in right now. So no parents are involved at all. So.
Exactly. That's not my mother's record collection there.
Right. Okay.
And if it was, I'd take it from her.
Of course.
She wasn't looking. Yeah. But hey, man, thank you so much. I want to say what an honor and privilege it is to have you on the show because, you know, in this big world of music, there are certain bands that sort of are out there. And of course, given our age, we are out of the MTV video era. You know, the popular culture of animation and TV shows and all this stuff. But I'll tell you, when I first saw you and Polyphonic Spree on Conan O'Brien, I was like, oh, I love it. You know, I've always sort of loved you guys in that way. You know, yeah, that's how I got turned on to Polyphonic Spree. And then when I heard you did this covers album, and you guys do great covers, and of course you covered Rush. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, I got to reach out to Tim and just get him on the show, you know? So,
well, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, man, totally. Yeah. So could you like give us your origin story, like where you come from, you know, what were you like as a kid, and just tell us who you are, man.
Okay. So, well, I'm 55. I was born and raised in Oak Cliff, Texas. It's in Dallas. And I grew up in Duncanville, Texas, which is kind of like it's a suburb of Dallas. And at the time I was living there, I kind of lived out on some land where there was, you know, cows and stuff like that going on. I went to school with a bunch of, you know, cowboys and kind of a redneck area a little bit. But I found refuge in music, and I've gravitated to people that had like-minded tastes in music, as all kids kind of do. And I conveniently had a guy who was older than me that lived behind me that was really into the Stones. Ended up starting a band with him where I was a drummer, and I was like 14 years old. And then my other neighbor that lived behind me was into Yes. And then I found that I freaking loved prog music, and I went down that path and completely digested Yes. And so that was a kind of that was my formative years when I was like able to play music. I was listening between the Stones, prog, and heavy metal, like all kids at that age, that time period. And I was in bands. I was in heavy metal cover bands. All bands that were happening at my time at that age were doing covers, and that hence why Spirit of Radio. I was in a band in high school called Regency, where we actually covered Spirit of Radio, and you know, that's it came back. We were doing this covers record, and it just kind of like, you know, I did this song when I was a kid, you know, my teens, and I want to see if I can still hit some of these notes, like, oh, salesman, and all, and like, can I still do this? And with this band, and that's how that came about. But you know, I was an only child growing up early before I moved to Duncanville, and I kind of gravitated to music as a kid, or I started buying records at the drugstore, and it was sunny pop music that I really liked. And first 45 I bought was called Beach Baby by the First Class. And I that pretty much that sunny pop area, the Association, all that kind of stuff, early 70s, that really had a profound effect on me. And I think that shaped my yearning for one day when I was doing music, and my taste became more sophisticated, that I wanted to get more into symphonic world, where I created the hybrid of rock and symphonic. I had a band called Tripping Daisy prior to.
Yeah, I was going to say, 1990 you formed Tripping Daisy, right? Which is,
yeah,
you know, everything's. I don't like classifications or labels, but it's noted as a neo psychedelic pop rock style.
Yeah,
and that was great. I mean, even that, I was talking to Dan about that, the song "I Got a Girl." I mean, Jesus, I forgot. I'm like, oh yeah, but that was on all the time. I remember seeing the video all the time, you know. So that was
that was my wife. That was the girl, and she's still my wife.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
Oh, hey, all right.
We've been together since high school, so about 37 years, almost 37 years.
Good for you, man. Right on. So you're born. You're 5 years older than Dan and I. So you're sort of at that sweet spot of, you know, one hit wonders, 70s era. This golden age of sort of rock and roll radio, rock and roll, and of course coming out of the 1960s and that youth culture as well. And you know, I remember some of that stuff, not as vividly probably as you, but of course I remember, and I say this in my book, I remember Hitchhikers, you know, and all these sort of Beatles that are on the radio all the time and things like that. But you know, that's interesting. What bands, forgive me, I know the big 60s or 70s era bands that came out of Texas, Blood Rock was one, right, Dan? Blood Rock.
Yep.
And
right.
And of course, metal wise, they always get sort of the acclaim for Pantera, right? They're a huge band. What other bands come out of Texas that are huge, or at least
ZZ Top, dude?
ZZ Top, yes.
Yeah, ZZ Top, Rocky Erickson.
Rocky, yes, Rocky. Yeah. That's right, man. Yeah.
My God, there's been so many.
13th Floor Elevators, yeah.
Yeah, 13th Floor.
Yeah, man.
I mean, it can go on. Texas is a big ass state. A lot of great music's come from here. When I was a kid, one of the drummers for ZZ Top lived on my street. Jimmy Carnes was a drummer for them for a short while.
Wow.
And I would literally go and sit in his driveway, listen to him practice his drums. And he had a robot that he had made that he would come out there and test drive it was big. It was like bigger than R2D2, and it kind of shaped like that. But
wow.
Kind of freaked me out. But I have small kind of memories of that. Yeah,
that's cool, man. That's really cool. So Yeah, Rocky Erickson, man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I saw him on 2 of his last performances in my area. I was so sad when he passed, but what a genius.
Totally. Total genius.
Big fan, Dan, of Rocky? Dan,
yeah, I love him.
Yeah,
and
I know.
I feel like we're lucky that we had him for as long as we did, because a lot of people who've had like, a similar type of past as he had, like if they make it past 30, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
The fact that he was what, like 70 or something like that when he finally passed, and it was like, that was kind of a miracle in my opinion.
I agree.
Yeah. I saw the documentary about him with with his brother trying to, and I mean, I hope his brother feels like, he did some good there and was able to kind of get him, that last graceful bow before he exited the stage. Because he could have very easily, have like, died in a gutter somewhere,
Totally.
It's so true, man. It's so true.
So many did,
Yeah, exactly.
So Tim, how did the Polyphonic Spree come together? Where did the idea for this come together? The name, of course. Did you have other names you were considering for this sort of big ensemble?
So my previous band, Tripping Daisy, it kind of started in that band where there was, when you go to make records and it's being as experimental as possible, you'd always try to make sounds that weren't like the sound of what the instrument was. You'd get, use guitar effects or whatever you had to do to really fuck it up, to get, to make something new and interesting. And so it kind of started there where like, God, I wish I had a flute here. Man, it'd be really cool to have, a horn section or, instead of just me singing, more people. And then I put it in the back of my head, like one day when I'm older down the line, I'm going to have a band or something like that. And it kind of started just like that. One day I'll have something like that. And then, not soon after those ideas and thoughts, my dear friend and guitar player, died of a drug overdose in Tripping Daisy. And
sorry, man.
I decided not to do it anymore and kind of just took some time off and thought, okay, if I'm going to do music again, I'm going to do what I was, had in the back of my head. I'm not quite an old guy, but I think I want to try this. And so it was like more or less, let's try to create a sound. And so I didn't know anybody in that world. I didn't know anybody in the symphonic world. I just knew rock musicians and people like that. So I just kind of started putting the word out there. And after someone put me to a tab, been talking about this, and my partner, Chris Penn, said, man, I've found you an opening spot for Granddaddy, the band Granddaddy. You're going to open up for him with this band that you're wanting to do. And I'm like, what? And it was in 2 weeks. And I had these songs I'd been writing. And so I just immediately started putting feelers out for people and family, friends, and said, hey, do anybody plays this, this, and this, and cultivated these people. And we got together and we're playing these songs, and we played the show, and it went off. Like it just, holy shit, it just happened. And originally I wasn't going to be in the band. I was just going to kind of put it together and be in the front, because it was all very kind of I wanted for myself kind of to hear it, like, what's this going to sound like? I'd love to hear this for myself, like having that hybrid of instruments but I ultimately became a big part of it. But yeah, it kind of started like that, just trying to create a sound. And then lo and behold, people would say, this is pretty great, Tim, but there's no way you're going to be able to take this on the road. And then that was just like another challenge for me. It's like, okay, yeah, we'll totally make this work. And then, here we are 20 years later. I can't believe it. But
I was going to say 20 years. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Two guys talking, brush two guys talking, brush two guys talking, brush two guys talking, brush two guys.
Stay tuned for part 2 2 of the Two Guys Talking Rush podcast next week.